The confirmation email arrived in the quietest way possible, sliding into the inbox like it belonged there, like it had always been waiting. A room number, a check-in time, a promise of rest after a long journey. No warning signs, no alarms, just a booking made in good faith. But some bookings don't lead to comfort. Some lead to hallways where the lights hum too loudly, 2 rooms that feel heavier than air, 2 nights where closing your eyes becomes an act of courage. Tonight, these are not just stories about reservations gone wrong. These are true booking horror stories. Moments where ordinary people crossed invisible lines without realizing it, and where fear became a teacher, carving lessons into memory that could never be erased. The first story begins with exhaustion, the kind that settles deep into the bones. A solo traveler driving through unfamiliar roads past midnight, eyes burning, hands tight on the wheel, the world narrowing to the stretch of asphalt ahead. Every hotel he passed was either full or too expensive, until one appeared on his phone with a price that felt like mercy. The photos looked fine. The reviews were scarce but neutral. He told himself, sleep mattered more than caution. When he arrived, the building stood alone, too quiet for a place meant to welcome guests. The lobby lights were on, but the air felt stale, like it hadn't been disturbed in hours. The clerk slid the key across the counter without a word, eyes never meeting his. In the room, the mirror faced the bed directly, reflecting darkness back at him. His chest tightened, for no clear reason. He thought about leaving, but fatigue won. At 3:17 a.m., he woke to breathing that wasn't his own. Slow. Patient. Close. The bathroom door stood open, though he remembered closing it. His body moved before his mind caught up. He grabbed nothing. No bag, no shoes, just the door and the night. Later, police would discover the room had been used by squatters, hiding in the ceiling crawl space, watching guests sleep. He survived not because he was brave, but because he finally listened to the voice he had ignored earlier. Fear didn't come to hurt him. It came to wake him up. Another booking. Another promise of escape. A couple searching for peace booked a vacation rental tucked away from the noise of the city. The price was low enough to feel like luck. The photos showed warm lights, clean walls, a place meant for laughter and rest. The first night, the house made sounds they couldn't explain. Not the creaks of old wood, but whispers, soft and layered, as if multiple voices were speaking at once, just beyond the walls. They checked their phones. No signal. They messaged the host. No reply. At dawn, they noticed the locks on the doors were newer than the rest of the house, reinforced in a way that felt backward, as if meant to keep something in, rather than out. When they left, they learned the property had been abandoned years earlier after a violent incident, quietly relisted under a new name. They had come looking for rest, and learned instead that safety is worth far more than a good deal. Silence can be comforting, but sometimes, it is the loudest warning of all. A business traveler booked a large hotel in a busy district, surprised by how little information existed about it online. No complaints, no praise, just emptiness. The halls were long and dim, the carpet worn thin by footsteps that seemed to echo longer than they should. That night, every television in the hotel turned on at once, filling the building with static. On his screen, a single room number appeared. His room. He didn't sleep again. By morning, he was gone. Months later, he learned the hotel had changed names repeatedly after unexplained disappearances, each rebranding erasing another layer of truth. He realized that the absence of warnings doesn't mean safety. Sometimes it means the story has been buried too deeply to surface. A young woman traveling alone booked a shared hostel bed, telling herself she needed to be brave, that fear had no place in independence. Each night, she returned to find her blanket folded differently than she had left it. Small changes, easy to dismiss. Until one morning, she lifted the mattress and found fingerprints pressed into the dust underneath, as if someone had been watching her from below. Staff insisted no one had entered the room. She left anyway. Security footage later revealed a man using maintenance tunnels to access sleeping areas. Her courage wasn't staying. It was leaving before the story ended differently. Not all danger announces itself with noise. Sometimes it settles quietly inside the body. A man booked a remote cabin for solitude, craving silence after months of chaos. Every time he stepped inside, his head throbbed, his chest felt tight, his thoughts blurred. He blamed stress. He blamed himself. On the third day, his legs gave out. He crawled outside for air. Investigators later discovered the cabin sat above an old gas leak site. His body knew, long before his mind did. Fear is not always panic. Sometimes it is information delivered through instinct. There is a lie we tell ourselves that leaving is failure. That once we've paid, once we've committed, we must endure. A family staying in a city hotel heard knocking on their door late at night. The voice claimed to be staff. Something felt off. The tone was wrong. The timing worse. They debated calling the front desk but didn't want to be rude, didn't want to overreact. When the knocking returned, louder, more urgent, they packed and left. Police later arrested a man impersonating staff who had been targeting that floor. Survival didn't come from politeness. It came from choosing life over embarrassment. Some places remember what people try to forget. A writer booked a historic inn for inspiration, drawn to its age and quiet charm. Each night, she dreamed of words forming on walls, of hands guiding hers across the page. When she woke, her notebook contained paragraphs she didn't remember writing. Beautiful, haunting, too familiar. Research revealed the room once belonged to an author who vanished before finishing a manuscript that was never found. She left with a story she couldn't explain and a respect for the weight history leaves behind. Fear changes people. A traveler who survived a terrifying stay now double-checks every booking, reads between lines, listens to pauses, trusts discomfort. He teaches others that intuition is not weakness. It is survival shaped by experience. Horror didn't ruin him. It refined him. These true booking horror stories are not about ghosts or monsters hiding in the dark. They're about moments when something felt wrong and the choice to listen or ignore it changed everything. They remind us that convenience can be dangerous, that silence can be suspicious, that cheap deals can cost more than money, and that leaving is sometimes the strongest decision a person can make. Fear is not the enemy. It is a signal, a guide, a quiet protector trying to keep you alive. If you are listening tonight, take these stories with you the next time you click confirm, the next time you stand in an unfamiliar room, the next time your chest tightens for reasons you can't explain. Slow down. Pay attention. Trust yourself even when you can't fully explain why. And may every place you book offer not just shelter, but safety. May every door you open lead you closer to peace rather than regret. And may you always be guided away from what means you harm and toward what allows you to return home whole.